Chapter 315. Besides Gakane Bulanwal and Hin Eldor, who were originally scheduled to stay here, Fin Eldor and Kana Wand will also move with the Peleta Knights to assist in the search. When the second dispatch team arrives at Great Serene Forest, they will signal us. When you meet them, explain the situation and involve them in the search operation. As I mentioned before, Gakane will take command, while Kana will handle the release of necessary information. Ydir turned his head towards Gakane. Originally, Gakane had planned to stay at the Western Mage Union base until the arrival of the second dispatch team, and then join them to the leading remaining monster extermination mission. Despite being flustered by suddenly having to track the star of Nagran, Gakane only moved his Adam's apple up and down once, showing no apparent fear. I understand. Leave it to me. There was a newfound seriousness on his face, as if he had made a decision. Kishir nodded and swept his gaze over the rest of the team, starting with Ydir. The rest of you have places to go with me in the meantime. Get ready and follow. With a statement to meet again at the mage's base in the evening, Kishir concluded the meeting. Didn't the villagers say they were the strange organization that fought with Ydir when they went to the Duke of Apeto's place last time? That's correct, but it's a bit different. I will explain the details on the way. With excited expressions, the elder siblings nodded and followed Kana. Ydir exchanged glances with them, then approached Kishir with Lusan and Eman. Although he doubted whether Kishir had really rested while he was asleep, his complexion was noticeably better than yesterday. Commander, where are we going? To meet the knights from Thainu. People sent from the Duke of the Chain? The one who gave the order must be Baron Wilhelm of Thainu, but above him is the Duke of Tain. So, yes, in a way. Then, why aren't we waiting here for them? Why are we going ourselves? At Emun's tense question, Kishir smiled as if it were a good question. That's because they didn't come here to meet us. Before departure, Kishir instructed Lusan and Emon to prioritize Ydir's protection in case of combat. Ydir thought it was excessive, but Lusan and Emon agreed without hesitation. The knights from Thainu have been surveying the surrounding circumstances from the border town outside Great Serene Forest for quite some time. They finally headed towards the forest this morning, likely due to the aftermath of the magic we cast yesterday. Even while leading 3 people with nearly no combat capabilities through the narrow spaces between the trees of Great Serene Forest, Kishir showed no hesitation. As if going for a leisurely stroll, he continued his explanation with light steps, and Ydir thought quickly as he listened. If they entered the forest this morning and didn't come straight to the Western Mage Union's base, it means they came here with another purpose. That's correct. Could it possibly be Tain's trade base? That's correct. At Kishir's agreement, the others looked at Ydir with surprise. Ydir, having already heard from the Western Mage Union, was able to consider this, and he briefly explained. Meanwhile, he recalled the conversation he had with Kishir not long ago. Kishir had spoken as if he had been aware of the illegal trade activities conducted by the House of Tain for quite some time. After discovering information that there were several victims of illicit trade within the village of the Star of Nagran, his plan to track down the matter had gotten somewhat derailed. Now, the knights of Thainu, who had voluntarily ventured into the Great Serene Forest, made for good prey. If the knights who came into the Great Serene Forest were really headed to locate the trading outpost of House Tain, it would mean that the Duke values it as a significant asset. His heart beat a little faster at the thought that he might finally uncover the answers to the illegal trade circumstances of House Tain that he couldn't fully grasp in his previous life. So, if what Either heard is correct, there are rumors that House Thane has established a trading outpost within the Great Serene Forest and they have been buying strange things. But what on earth are they trying to buy that the knights had to come all the way here and hurry there? Slave trade. There were also talks of them trying to import dangerous drug ingredients. At either succinct answer, Aemon furrowed his brows. Slavery? Wait, it isn't related to the human trafficking we heard about in the Awakeners village before, is it? Probably so. Good Lord! Aemon covered his mouth. Lusan also recoiled, making a face as if utterly disgusted. Slave trade, you say? How could a place like House Thane attempt such a thing? It's something that will never be forgiven by God. Uther did not miss the fleeting icy smile on the face of Kishir, who was leading the way. Well, it can be argued that being a ducal house, they were all the more capable of carrying out such deeds. His tone was soft, but the coldness in his eyes didn't change. Either felt a renewed realization that Kishir did not harbor good feelings towards the ducal houses. There it is, finally visible. Not long after, they discovered something and stopped. On the side of the well-kept road, where trees were rare, there was a small, seemingly half-built cabin. Although there was no sign of people, the door was open as if someone had rushed out. According to Mikkel Punt, that was the first outpost that House Thane began to build. Either was surprised to learn that Kishir had even asked about that while conversing with Mikkelin. There was nothing inside the cabin. However, they soon discovered a section of the floor in a corner that was unnaturally lifted. After lifting the clumsily covered wooden piece from the raised floor, Aemon found a hole beneath and immediately stooped to check its interior. Thanks to his ability to hide in the darkness, he could see better than others in the dark. There is a narrow basement below. Nothing's in it. Wait a moment. Aemon, who jumped down towards it, returned shortly, holding something. It was a torn and ragged piece of a small garment. Everyone fell silent at the sight of the ragged piece. It looks like a child's clothing. I guess they really did confine people here. We will need Kana to confirm that. Kishir, who gave a brief reply, ordered the piece of the clothing to be kept and exited the cabin. He then followed the trade route towards the location of another outpost. They discovered 3 more half-built houses, but they couldn't find other pieces of clothing or any other items. How long had it been since they started moving towards the 4th outpost? They abruptly came upon the people they had been searching for. Ah, the blood. Aemon muttered with a pallid face, staring at the gruesome scene unfolding before his eyes. In the middle of the trade route established by the House of Thane, 3 knights clad in armor bearing the insignia of Thainu lay sprawled. The putrid scent of blood and flesh attacked his nostrils. At a glance, they were beyond saving. Dead. Could it be the work of monsters? In response to Lusan's question, who had also turned pale, Kishir pondered while examining the traces of blood splattered as far as the nearby trees. Well, it might be, but it was the work of humans. All eyes turned to Uther upon his assertive claim. He stepped forward and gestured to the deceased knights. They lay mutilated, limbs and abdomen slashed, as if they were hackled up dolls. If they had encountered monsters and were fleeing, they would have fallen face down. However, all died facing upward. By their expressions, it's clear they died instantaneously, oblivious of their impending death. And Uther kneeled and gingerly lifted something draped on one of the knights. What should have been a bag was reduced to nothing but a strap. A monster wouldn't neatly cut away a bag like this. It's definitely the deed of a human. I see. Kishir agreed with Uther's analysis, approaching the scene. Aemon, unable to muster the courage to view the brutally dismembered bodies up close, stayed back, watching from a distance. Considering the blood is still flowing, they haven't been dead long. It doesn't seem like a sword was used. The ability to kill 3 knights in an instant and vanish without a trace. It's likely the work of the Awakener. There were Awakeners who came to mind, those of Star of Nagran who had lived in the Great Serene Forest for a long time. Could those who were rumored to have suddenly disappeared actually still be here? Sensing a whirlwind of thoughts crossing his mind, Uther turned his gaze to Kishir. They might still be nearby. At Uther's words, Kishir nodded. They began to survey the area, leaving the corpses behind.